Hi friends, it's Jodie here for Hit Kit Club, and today I have a Traveller's Notebook spread for Mixed Media Monday. Part of my brief this week was to use the stencil from the July colour kit and create a plaid pattern with it. Now my July kits haven't quite arrived as yet, so instead I created myself a similar stencil using my silhouette and cut that out with some cardstock, and I'm going to use that to try and create myself a plaid pattern. I've pulled out my Lindy's Magicals here. One of the colours is Hottie Patottie Hot Pink, which is from the June colour kit. And the more orangey one is Alpine Ice Rose, and that comes from last month's colour kit. I'm just mixing them here with some white acrylic paint. And you'll notice before I mix them thoroughly with the paint that I'm actually using some water to activate the colours as I go. I'm no expert when it comes to Lindy's Magicals, but just in playing with them today, I've found that that definitely releases the colour more and keeps the paint with a nice texture so that by adding the powder it doesn't make it too dry. Here's the first layer going down of my plaid background, and I'm just having a sneaky little peek there to make sure that my homemade stencil is working well, and it looks like it is. I really don't know 100% what I'm doing here, and that's part of the fun of mixed media, is just playing and see what you can come up with. You can see here already that I have just got paint all over my hands, and again, that's part of mixed media, and that's part of the fun, is just getting a little inky and seeing what you can come up with. And here's my finished plaid piece, and I love how that turned out. You can see here I've got a little 3x4 card, that poor little 3x4 card I'd always planned on using in this spread, and it was the victim of a little bit of overspray. I got a bit excited, so I was just seeing if I could rub a little bit of that off there, but definitely, it doesn't come off once it's on when it comes to sprays. But I've decided I'm just going to live with it. I really wanted to use that 3x4 card, so I'm just going to move on. My plaid piece was already trimmed to the full size of a Traveller's Notebook page, which for me is 8¼ inches by 4¼ inches. And I've also trimmed one of the Vicki Boutin papers to the same size. My design on this layout, I'm planning to have just the 3x4 card and that lovely semicircle sticker from Heidi Swapp on the left side, and a series of 3 smaller photos on the right side. This week at Hit Kit Club is all about celebrations. It's celebration week, and these photos, the series of 3 photos, I took over the weekend that my hubby and I had down in the Blue Mountains in February this year. It was our 25th wedding anniversary, which is very cool but kind of scary that we've been married for 25 years. That means we must be getting old, right? With those 2 darker elements on the left-hand page, I've backed each of them with some white cardstock just to help them pop more against the dark background, because they're a darker element on a darker background, and I just like the way that white cardstock gives them a kind of matter separation and helps them pop against the dark background. On the right page, I know that I want to have a strip of pattern paper to ground the photos. I'm just fussing at the moment with what piece of paper I want to use. I originally started with that smaller strip that's just going back on now. That's actually a branding strip from one of the Heidi Swapp papers, I believe. And even though I try a couple of different strips, I end up going with that one in the end. decided to add some black pattern paper as a layer behind my photos, as well as the pink vertical strip there. And I'm just having a look through the Vicki Boutin sticker set and the Heidi Swapp sticker sheet there as well, to see what elements I might like to use on my spread. Once I have an idea of how everything's going to sit and I'm happy with those layers, I'm going to start adhering everything down. I'm going to add some stitching to these layers as well. Just lately, I've been really enjoying using my metallic threads again. It's something that I used to do all of the time, but for a while there, I just went to using white thread on most of my projects. This spread here, I'm using gold thread, and just recently in another spread this week, I've been using my silver stitching thread as well. I actually bought some metallic embroidery thread from Spotlight. Spotlight is an Australian store and it's similar to Michael's, I think, in America. And you can just buy a spool of this embroidery thread that fits right onto your regular sewing machine. I do prefer to use just white regular thread in my bobbin. I think it prevents it from breaking quite as much. And you can also get special metallic sewing machine needles as well, which can help sometimes if you're experiencing breakage with your metallic threads. And I should say as well, actually, with using the white thread for the bobbin, you actually don't see that when you have the finished product. It's just the thread that stays at the back, and the only thread that you see is the metallic thread on the top. So it's definitely a win-win. Pretty happy with how that right page is coming along, so I'm moving back to the left. I do love this paper from Vicki Boutin that has some layered tags on it, and I like these two in particular, so I've just cut those out and I'm seeing if they can fit in anywhere on my spread. Looking at that now, I do like that there, but I shuffle it around both pages for a little bit before it ends up where it finally goes. I printed out my journaling on my printer now, and I've also stitched around that card in my gold metallic thread as well, and I'm just adhering all that down. I was struggling for a while with having enough detail on the left page. I felt like it was lacking something, but I feel like now that I've got that little Heidi Swapp tag underneath the journaling card, that I'm happier with how much detail's on that page. And I'm just going to add a few more labels from the Heidi Swapp sticker book and a couple of Vicki Boutin pieces to layer over that. And I've also cut out a couple of little tags, those yellow tags that were in the Vicki Boutin, one of the Vicki Boutin pattern papers. I really loved that yellow colour. I felt that it matched really nicely with the stamens on the flower in the journaling card. So I pulled those out really early on, knowing that I wanted to use them. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed when I was just playing with those scissors, roughing up that little yellow label, I actually stabbed myself with my craft scissors. The danger is real, people. When you are crafting, the danger is real with those sharp tools, so just be careful with those. Those Vicki Boutin labels that I cut out earlier have now made their way onto the right page. What I did was I ended up walking away from this spread. It was time to cook dinner, and this is actually now the next morning when I come back to this layout, and I just popped in a couple of times while I was cooking dinner and just shuffled things around a little bit. And so this is where these little tags ended up going, and I really like how they look. They really ground the photos for me and bring in some more of that pomegranate colour from the left page as well. I tried so hard to use one of the beautiful gold foil scripty words from the Heidi Swapp sticker book on this spread, but in the end it just didn't work out. I ended up going with "In Its Place That Exists Loudly" sentiment from the Vicki Boutin chipboard stickers, and as a finishing touch to my layout I'm just adding some more stitching across some of the elements, the labels and that kind of thing, just to add a little more detail to it, and then that is my spread done. This spread was made using their June kits from Hip Kit Club, and I will leave a link to all of the products used in the description box below, and I will also put a link in there for the August kits that have just been released. They are absolutely gorgeous, guys. Do yourself a favour and go and check them out as well. I can't wait to get my hands on those. If you like this video today, please give it a thumbs up, and I am going to leave you now with a few close-ups of my finished layout. I had so much fun putting this one together and getting a little messy with my mixed media today. Bye guys!